Well, we just heard him call a number of Republicans Nazis and racist, so I think we can put him in the category of willing to go there.
I didn't call Republicans. Hold on. I didn't call Republicans Nazis.
That is a tactic that is not going to work.
He had dinner with a Nazi.
And they are taking it personally.
I'm going to play that entire back and forth for you in just a moment, and the exchange just went completely off the rails after Fox News contributor Jonathan Kott correctly pointed out that Donald Trump had dinner with Nick Fuentes, an out-and-out neo-Nazi, and Kanye West, someone who talked about his love for Hitler, among many other anti-Semitic remarks. And the ridiculousness of the other Fox contributor pretending like that was an attack against all Republicans is stunning. You're the one doing the equating, and Nick Fuentes, who again, publicly on his show talks about his admiration for Hitler and says horrible, vile things about just every group, stuff that I would be afraid to repeat because I think it could violate YouTube terms of service. But he said, all I want is revenge against my enemies and a total Aryan victory. He also wants the US government to be under a, quote, Catholic Taliban rule, end quote, and wants a, quote unquote, holy war against Jews, and is a Holocaust denier, and just so many horrible, disgusting things. That's who Trump had dinner with at Mar-a-Lago shortly after announcing his presidential bid, along with Kanye West, who, as I'm sure you all remember, had that big public breakdown of anti-Semitism. And I'm putting headlines up on screen to remind you of that dinner. And with that in mind, here's the whole back and forth on Fox News.
I can only tell you what my former bosses who have met with him publicly and privately say. He takes meetings long into the night. He's on top of everything. He's very detail oriented. He's never had a note card in any one of those meetings. And I will say this, I would rather have a president who maybe has a stutter once in a while than one who spews conspiracy theory, racist nonsense, and has dinner with Nazis. So if given the choice between one or the other, I'm happy that Joe Biden might misspeak once in a while when he's trying to name a president of a foreign country.
Well, nobody has ever picked on him for his speech impediment. I mean, I have relatives who stutter. That's not the issue. It's the acuity issue. Yeah. Real quickly, Tammy.
Well, we just heard him call a number of Republicans Nazis and racist, so I think we can put him in the category of willing to go there.
I didn't call Republicans. Hold on. I didn't call Republicans Nazis.
That is a tactic that is not going to work.
He had dinner with a Nazi.
And they are taking it personally. Look at these numbers.
Tammy,
it's not going to work.
Exactly what I said.
Okay, we're going to have to let you both go.
He had dinner with a Nazi.
I had even said I had never heard you talk like that. And look, 5 seconds later, I was wrong.
Desperation.
Sadly. Good to see you both. Great discussion as always. Thank you.
So first, to address the right-wing contributor who immediately displayed that faux outrage about Jonathan Kott going after Republicans. All he's going after in terms of Republicans generally is their willingness to support Trump. But the fact that she would take that and pretend like he said anything close to Republicans generally are Nazis is crazy. And sort of insulting to her viewers, right? She's the one equating the two. Again, wild. But we see that a lot. All he did was point out a fact, something that happened. And that is so insulting to the contributor and to the Fox host. You've gone so low, Jonathan. How dare you? It's not his fault that Trump chose to have dinner with them. Him pointing to that shouldn't be offensive to them. But to the core of Jonathan Kott's argument, I think that's a really good response to all of these freakouts over Biden's age or his gaffes. Hey, I'd rather see a few gaffes here and there rather than someone who fill in the blank. Now, as I often say, think the most important thing to make sure to emphasize is how Trump threatens democracy. I'd rather have someone who has a couple of gaffes than someone who tried to block the peaceful transfer of powers, call for the termination of the Constitution, etc., all the things we go through on a daily basis. And you can throw in, I don't want someone who was found liable in a civil trial for sexually abusing someone or whatever it might be. Plenty of things to bring up there. Plus, and I promise I won't go through all the achievements of Joe Biden again because I just did it in a deep dive segment very recently. But I think saying, hey, whatever your concerns are, clearly Biden's doing something right is also a really good way to respond. Here's Gavin Newsom doing just that.
Do you think it's responsible for Democrats to put him at the top of the ticket given those concerns?
Responsible. I revere his record. I mean, what he's done in 3 years has been a masterclass, close to 15 million jobs. That's 8 times more than the last 3 Republican presidents combined. The economy is booming. Inflation is cooling. It's 0.6% more than it was in the summer of 2020 at just 3.1%. Wait a second. We have American manufacturing coming back home, all because of Biden's wisdom, because of his temperance, his capacity to lead in a bipartisan manner, which is an underrepresented point. And so I have great confidence moving forward. So the answer is absolutely all in terms of the next 4 years of Joe Biden.
These voters, though, are not complaining about his record. They're talking about concerns about his ability to beat Trump, who you've called a threat, essentially, to the democracy. But in private, we've heard a lot of his allies say publicly, in private, he is strong. He's in command. Yeah. He's forceful. Does he need to do more to show?
I think he's doing everything he needs to do. I mean, he's got an extraordinary record. He's doing everything he needs to do on Ukraine at the moment. He's doing everything he needs to do to reconcile and wrestle some common sense as it relates to a bipartisan approach to address the issue of the border, where the Republicans couldn't take yes for an answer because they don't want to make that a political issue. He is leading. And so, no, from my humble perspective, not only the last 3 years have been extraordinary. I've been out with, as you know, on the campaign trail. I was just out in California. I've seen him up close. I've seen him from far. But here's my point. It's because of his age that he's been so successful. It's because of the wisdom and the character that's developed over years that we have the CHIPS and Science Act, the Infrastructure Bill, and the PACT Act, and the Safer Communities Act. And because we've seen these bipartisan accomplishments, because of his capacity of understanding, because of his leadership. So the opportunity to express that for 4 more years, what a gift it is for the American people. And as a Democrat, what a gift for me to make the case for the leader of our party, Joe Biden.
Yeah, so that format of argument and response to the constant emphasis on the subject, I think, is really good. If you want to see the segment, and haven't already, that I previously referenced, where I go through in depth the reasons that I refer to Biden as one of the most successful presidents in modern American history, going one policy at a time, real fact-based, you can click right here. And then, of course, down there to subscribe to the channel.